Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to briefly break down Barcelona's first win of the Liga season at the hands of Real Betis. But before we do that, don't forget to give our video a thumbs up if you do enjoy it. The bell below does give you daily notifications regarding our organic, unfiltered soccer/footy analysis. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. But now, let's get to the starting lineups. We look at Barcelona, more of a 4-3-3. You have Griezmann up front, Perez and Rafinha out in the wider areas. And in midfield, and with De Jong, Sergio Roberto, and Sergio Busquets. Then we move to Betis, more of a 4-4-2 up front. They went with Loren and Fekir out in the wider areas, Teo and Canales, and in midfield, Guardado and William Carvalho. So now let's get to Barcelona, see how they approach this game differently and where they were able to find an advantage against Real Betis. So when we break down Barcelona against Betis, we have to look at how Barcelona were aiming to break down Betis following their first week loss and how they struggled against Athletic Bilbao. We look to the board and we see it, Betis 4-4-2 without the ball, trying to get the center backs to squeeze up high, having the two forwards sit near Sergio Busquets so he can't have time on the ball when he does drop off a bit deeper. And one of the interesting things about their front four is that they were all able to interchange positions. There were times where you'd see two of them up top at the front, you'd see them interchange between the wider areas, and there was no real set center forward, but they were sharing the workload from a defensive aspect because they knew that they weren't going to have the ball for long spells against Barcelona. So that was very key here. But when we look to Barcelona's shape, you have the wider players hugging the touchline, Rafinha hugging the touchline, Perez. You have Griezmann just ahead of the center forwards. You have the shuttlers in De Jong, and you have Sergio Roberto playing a bit higher. One, we'd see Sergio Roberto like to shoot forward and make vertical runs into that channel. On De Jong's point, when you have Rafinha looking to tuck in, often you'd see De Jong pick up positions in that deeper channel, or he would play as high as Emerson, the Betis right back. And with them tucking in a bit centrally, and you have De Jong occupying that space, it allows Jordi Alba to push forward. There were times where Jordi Alba did sit a bit deeper. That was when either Rafinha was holding the touchline or you had De Jong shift down to that space to hold the touchline there. But that was pivotal. So you see that going on, and then you have Griezmann, who improved from the opening week when he did play center forward. Oftentimes he was waiting for longer balls, looking to just break into the channels. When the opening 10 minutes, you could see how valuable he can be if he does play that center forward role, dropping off into space in between the midfield, linking play with his teammates. There were two distinct movements in this game. One was Griezmann dropping off, and two was the Sergio Roberto runs. You would see that, and you saw that an example in the opening stages where he dropped off deeper and he linked play with Rafinha, and that led to one of their better passing spells where he combined with Alba and Rafinha with quick 1-2s breaking towards the box. There was one on the right-hand side where he drifted out into the channel, and what happens here is that Perez obviously moved a bit more central. Griezmann drifts into the channel. You have Teo stepping to Semedo, and what happens is that Semedo plays the ball to Griezmann and he flicks it beyond Alfonso, where you see Sergio Roberto making that darting run beyond William Carvalho and beyond Sidney, but his cross is overhit. But just like that, you see the two key elements there. Griezmann varying his movement and linking play with his teammates. You have Sergio Roberto making darting runs into that space, trying to get forward, and that was pivotal for Barcelona. There was another opportunity that kind of sums up Sergio Roberto, where you have Longley locating the fact that Sergio Canales is a bit narrow, and he passes it to Jordi Alba, who has time to deliver a cross. You have Sergio Roberto getting into that space in between Alfonso and in between Sidney to get a free header, but he nodded it over the net. But just like that, you're kind of seeing the key elements to Barcelona's play. When you look at Betis, they didn't really struggle down their left-hand side, because if Griezmann wasn't dropping off into that space, what would end up happening is that they could have Teo or whoever was playing on that left-hand side drop off a bit deeper to protect Alfonso against Perez, because he was also a threat, constantly giving Barcelona a different dimension, a player who could run at defenders and beat them and deliver quality crosses on goal, towards goal, or cut in and fire shots off. So that was pivotal, but they were able to often get 1v2s because Semedo wasn't looking to overlap and doesn't offer the offensive threat that Jordi Alba does on the opposite side, which is why at one point we did see them swap flanks and have Perez down that left-hand side, but on the right-hand side it didn't really help Barcelona because, again, Rafinha's tucking in, so then you still have that 1v2, this time with Semedo, so it was a bit lopsided. There was no balance. That's what you get from Perez. He's able to run and break through that side. Rafinha cuts in on the other side, and you're able to get Jordi Alba pushing forward, stretches the play, allows Barcelona to create more space in the center of the pitch. However, Barcelona still started the game slow and were behind in the opening 15 minutes. A defensive mistake. Busquets dropping off a bit deeper, sliding it to Rafinha. He reacts to it late, and Canales steps in. He's able to get away from De Jong and split De Jong and Busquets to slide the ball into Loren, and Loren runs at the center backs, where he's able to locate Fekir, making the run in between Alba and Piqué to slide the ball into him, and he's able to get onto the ball and fire his shot past the keeper. One mistake, one goal, and there weren't really any notable Betis breaks besides Fekir driving forward and being fouled. Barcelona did a good job of winning the ball back in their half, stepping to the ball carrier quickly, and like I said, even their second goal, it's just a poor back pass from Griezmann to De Jong that he can't control, falls to Loren, smashes the ball into the net. So when we look at all that and we see the issues, we see where Barcelona can create, and when they were struggling, we have to get to the goal, because after the opening 10 minutes, Griezmann really struggled to get involved in the game. We saw Batra and we saw Sidney dropping off a bit deeper to ensure that he couldn't link play and sticking really tight to him. The goal came from somewhat of a transitional play where the ball was thrown out to Semedo, and he's able to push forward and slide the ball out to Perez. When he slides the ball out to Perez, you have Teo recovering, but then you see Sergio Roberto again making that darting run ahead of Alfonso, but then dropping off in between the recovering Guardado and Fekir to get the pass from Perez. And as soon as he gets the pass, he locates Griezmann making the run off Batra, and he clips the ball over him. Griezmann makes the run across, and he's able to poke it into the net. Yes, they were able to catch them out of position for a second, but it sums up the key aspects that Barcelona were striving in this game. Perez cutting in from the left, Sergio Roberto making key runs into that space, finding the ball receiving the ball in space, Griezmann using his movement, whether it's not dropping off, it's running in behind to get onto that. So when we move to the second half to see Barcelona put the game out of sight, we look at Griezmann, we look at Sergio Roberto. Busquets also played a key role here in winning the ball back high up the pitch, but it starts off early in the build-up to Griezmann's second goal, and what happens here is that we see Rafinha cutting in from the left-hand side across Emerson, and what he ends up doing is he locates Sergio Roberto making a run off Alfonso, so he plays the ball into him and he drops it off to Griezmann, who pulled off the center backs. So you have Roberto pulling out Alfonso, and then what happens there is that you have Perez making the run into that space where Griezmann can slide it into him, and Perez should score here with Sidney coming across, but he scuffs his shot wide. But just like that, Emerson cutting across to pull off a fullback. You have Sergio Roberto pulling out Alfonso, and what happens there is that you have Griezmann dropping off ahead of the center backs to slide in, Perez breaking in. Great Barcelona movement, should lead to the goal. Then we get the build up to the goal. It's Longley winning the ball, a long ball over Fekir, and he nods it into the path of a teammate right here. And what happens is that the ball is played into Griezmann. He plays it into De Jong, and De Jong plays it into Griezmann, who drops off to the right of Guardado. So he drops off to the right of Guardado, cuts across him, and he locates Sergio Roberto again, playing a bit higher, plays the ball into him to split the two center midfielders, and Roberto backheels it into the path of Griezmann. Griezmann can't win that challenge, but what happens there is that the ball ends up falling back to Sergio Roberto, and he slides it into Griezmann, who has enough space to gain an angle and curl his effort, a superb effort past the keeper, 2-1, and that started the onslaught for Barcelona there, because the third goal doesn't really stem from that platform, but it's Busquets stepping into William Carvalho looking to break, and what happens there, he wins the ball, slides it to Semedo, and then he plays it back to Perez, who now is able to take his first touch across Guardado and across William Carvalho to slide his effort into the net. Busquets again with a similar challenge. This time again it's Griezmann who's able to get the ball from the left-hand side from a pullback, and a pullback from Rafinha. He's able to nutmeg his first marker in William Carvalho, but Bartra steps in, and what happens there is he pokes the ball into the path of Busquets, who steps into the challenge. Busquets locates the fact that he has Emerson out of position, he has Guardado out of position, and he has Alba running off Canales. plays it into him, free and left half space, slides his effort past the keeper. In the build up to after all of that, we see Betis make changes. They bring on Captum, they bring on Joaquin, they bring on Lainez. Doesn't really change the impact of the game. Vidal comes on for Busquets, who looked to pick up a knock. De Jong slides in, and then the final goal, again, you see Griezmann involved, you see Perez involved, breaks on the counter down the right-hand side, running at the back four. You have Vidal making a powerful run in between the center backs. You have Griezmann peeling off Batra and peeling off Emerson. Ball slid into him, and he instantly locates Vidal, making the run across Alfonso. First time Griezmann slides it in, Vidal is able to tap it in. Barcelona cruise 5-2. Positive win without Suarez and Messi, but it stems to key elements that we weren't seeing in that first game, and a lot of variety in their movement. Griezmann dropping off, pulling to the flanks, pulling markers out of position, combining with teammates. Perez's ability to run at defenders from the get-go, doing a better job than Dembele did on the opening day. And you had Sergio Roberto making those pivotal vertical runs, combining with Griezmann, looking to play that final pass. And Busquets did play a key role in the second half, following a slow start to the first, where he was marked out of the game. But let me know what you guys think. What does this win say about Barcelona? And does this performance prove that they have the depth to cruise to another league title? Meet me in the comments below. Don't forget I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And that was your daily dose of the interviews.